Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to help me here. I want you to listen to this speech and tell me, especially if you are a lawyer or a student of law or just common knowledge, tell me which part of this speech is culpable, which one can lead to arrest and ultimate prosecution in a court of justice.
Tuko na hofu katika Jamhuri la Kenya sababu ya kuona pesa za umma zikitumika vibaya kwenda kuhonga watu ndio waweze kumchagua Raila Amolo Odinga ndio awe chairman wa AU huko Addis Ababa. Ni aibu kubwa sana ambayo tumeiona siku ya jana, kuona William Ruto akijaribu kuhonga mapresident wengine ndio waweze kumpigia kura Raila Amolo Odinga, na zile pesa ambazo wanataka kutumia ni pesa za umma, pesa ambazo watu wamelipa kodi ndio tuweze kujengewa barabara, ndio tuweze kuwa na stima, ndio tuweze kuwa na maji, ndio tuweze kuwa na pesa za kulipa walimu ndio waweze kusimamia elimu ya watoto wetu. Ni makosa makubwa sana. Tuko na hofu, lakini pia tunamwalika Raila Amolo Odinga arudi katika taifa letu la Kenya, akuje tushikane mkono tuweze kukung'atua katika mamlaka, sababu tumeona ukiwa mfisadi, ukiwa muongo, na kama umeweza kudanganya wachungaji, umeweza kudanganya wa Kenya, umeenda ukadanganya Raila Amolo Odinga ya kwamba atapata kiti ya AU ambayo hakuipata. Sasa Raila Amolo Odinga yafaa ujue huyo mtu ni mtu wa uongo, ni mtu wa kukuchukulia, wa kunena uongo, ndio asiwe na mtu wa kumpinga ifikapo mwaka 2027.
The reason I have played that video is because that speech led to the arrest of that MP. That MP is called Koimburi. He's the current member of parliament of Juja constituency. Now, after Raila's shocking defeat in Addis Ababa, many people have been questioning the amount of money that was used. They want the government of Ruto to come clean for accountability, because by the end of the day, it is taxpayers' money. Remember, the ODM fraternity has been thanking William Ruto as if that money is from his personal pocket. It is your money and my money. So we have the right under the Constitution to demand accountability. So when George Koimburi talked about accountability, I think William Ruto got vexed. But I'm not a lawyer, but there is a part of it that, to me, if you ask me, you could be legally questioned. The part that is saying that William Ruto was using that money to bribe African member states, African heads of states. That is an allegation that is not palatable to the government. And I think to that capacity, he can be questioned to explain what he knows about the alleged bribery attempt. That is the only part that I feel can be legally binding. The rest is pure politics. When he says that we want to know the amount of money that was used. And I know the part that really got Ruto's nerves is this part when he's saying, Raila, come, let us join hands together and ensure that William Ruto will not see the light of day in 2027. Now, if that will form part of the accusation, then William Ruto must prepare to arrest all Kenyans. Because this is what Kenyans have been demanding, that they regroup to ensure that come 2027 he's home, he's sent home. What will he say? Because already Gachagua anatembea, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, Matiang'i, Kalonzo, all those are ganging up against him, and the demand is just one, that they ensure that he's sent home. Others are even saying that there should be an impeachment motion against William Ruto. So if that is the account that is using to punish George Koimburi, then he better think twice. Now, Koimburi was arrested, and the charge sheet is, I don't know, using cybercrime, something to do that was he published false allegation, something about that. Now, after that arrest, Rigathi sent his troop, the no-nonsense troop, led by Senator Karungu Athangwa and Joe Nyotu and the rest. You look at the average age of those senators. So averagely, they are very young senators, full of energy and passion and determination. Rigathi Gachagua unleashed them to go and rescue their brother. They went there to find out, why have you arrested Koimburi? On what grounds? Is there malice? And this is how things went about.
The same tactics used by President Ruto to intimidate, to silence, and try to keep those who criticize him, keep them quiet so that they don't say anything. But I think, looking at the things, I think Raila's defeat at the AUC imeuma watu sana, au kwa serikali imewauma, and that's why they are now taking every single opportunity that they have to try to harass a member of parliament. A member of parliament is given an opportunity by the Constitution to oversight, to represent, and of course to come up with laws. So when Koimburi questions, a question that I'm going to ask on the floor of the House today, how much money was used to campaign for one defeated Raila Odinga? How much was used? That is a question any member of parliament would use. But we are telling the president, you say you are disappointed because Raila lost. We are disappointed you have taken our health NHIF. We are disappointed you are building houses and you are buying them. We are disappointed because all the money that was supposed to come to Kiambu to build Mau roads, you have diverted them. So I'm saying those who are arresting Koimburi, they should also come. I'm just here DCI, and I'm repeating the same what Koimburi said. So they should not weaponize DCI. They should not weaponize police to come and try to silence members of parliament.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. We shall overcome someday. And we shall revisit it. We shall revisit. We shall revisit. We shall revisit someday. We shall revisit someday.
But I want to say this, ladies and gentlemen, after watching that speech and listening to the speech, you know, William Ruto, if he's not very careful, I don't know whether this is deliberate, and Arabia Raila. You know, he makes it look like they are very bitter after the loss of Raila. Raila had conceded defeat, and he had said, he told us that he congratulated Mohamud. And so we let it rest there. If William Ruto is going to go about punishing people for talking about the loss and the defeat, then he makes it look like they are bitter. Number two, if he's going to punish people for questioning the amount of money that is used, then he makes people feel like there was some corruption. There is something that they're hiding because, as I said earlier, this is our money. The government should be open. They should not even wait for people to start asking how much was used. We all know that money must be used whenever you present a candidate. Uhuru used 30, let me just check that. Uhuru used 437 million Kenya shillings when we were campaigning for Amina Mohamed. Whenever we present a candidate, he or she is a Kenyan candidate, and money must be used. So the government must come clean. And I know the next question is, were we ready? Were we even supposed to present a candidate to waste such amount of money? Then, because I understand that this time around they used billions, not even millions, billions to campaign for Raila, and then he fails to clinch that seat. And the reason why people are compelled even to ask are two things. One, the government is full of corruption. I've always told you that some of these things are not our own creation. They are institutions that we maintain by taxpayers' money to ensure that they check the government. The Auditor General's office and the Controller of Budget's office, they keep on telling us that there isn't any accountability in Ruto's government. There is a lot of wastage. And so, when people hear of allegations of amounts of money that have been used, they just know that there is another scandal that is building, and sooner than later we will hear about it. That is number one. Number two, the reasons why Raila was sent to contest for that seat is something that is wanting, because people understand that unlike Uhuru, who presented Amina Mohammed without looking for any selfish gain, Ruto presented Raila so that Raila could exit the political stage to allow him to rule. He thought like he would rule like a lion in the jungle. So people are really wary and worried and very cautious about the money that is used. So when he goes around, he wants to arrest people here and there, he will regret it, because the more you arrest, the more people will ask, and you will continue apprehending people. So he should not even try to intimidate, because the next thing he's doing, he wants to intimidate people to stop asking questions. I think Ruto should better learn that Kenyans can never be cowed. Kenyans will always ask questions. We are under a new dispensation. I know sometimes William Ruto is tempted to think that he can rule the Moi style, the Nyayo era style. I was talking to someone, another Mzee was telling me that sometimes we accuse the late president, Daniel Torotich Arap Moi. But Moi was working with the constitution, the then constitution, that allowed, many loopholes. The only thing that Mzee was telling me that sometimes Torotich Moi needed to use conscience, to have some conscience, so that you know your limit. But he was working strictly under the laws as per the constitution then, because the laws allowed the president quite executive powers. And I know sometimes William Ruto feels like I can invoke certain powers outside the constitution, but it is very difficult. It would only plunge him into irretrievable chaos and mayhem. Because remember when they decided that they passed the finance bill 2024 bila kujali, na wananchi walikuwa wamesema hatutaki, then Gen Z's plunged into the streets. Even if you want to tell us that Rigathi Gachagua sponsored the demonstrations, what was the trigger? Without a trigger, because Gachagua could not just wake up and tell people, let us go to the street. There must have been a trigger. The trigger was, we had cautioned you. You had passed the finance bill in 2023. We cautioned. Then you thought it was business as usual, because Parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate, are under control of William Samoei Ruto, dancing to the tune. And they took people for granted. And with that trigger, people went to the streets. So William Ruto, his hands are tied, because we are under a new dispensation. And I don't know why William Ruto forgets so fast. This kind of mistreatment is what they went through during the Ruto regime, when they fell out completely with his former boss. And they were mistreated. They were persecuted. One thing that William Ruto should learn is that power is transient. Today you are in power, power corrupts, you feel that you are everything, you feel that your pronunciation is low, whatever you say is alpha and omega, unquestionable. Then before you know it, 3 years elapse very fast, and you wake up to a new dawn that you are no longer the president of the country, someone else is. And William Ruto must understand that the very, very measure that he uses on people will be the measure used on him. Let him not make it look like they are so bitter about that loss. And I mean, they should know better that we must talk about this. They had hyped it. They had sent over 100 leaders there. And I know they are telling us those leaders used their money from their pocket. I doubt. I'm not saying they didn't, but I doubt whether they used their personal money. Knowing Kenya for what it is, and knowing Ruto for who he is, and their expectations, They expected that they will win and start celebrations. They took bad mannerism from Kenya to Ethiopia when other leaders, the other two contenders, were very humble. Apparently, they went there with a very slim number of people. They didn't carry many people there. What about us? We carried people, including activists, and we were intimidating them, and they were like, what is happening? I know there are very, many other factors, but we were also our own enemy. We shot ourselves in the foot. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it is right to start intimidating people. You cannot do that at this time and age. You see people are being kidnapped, but they never tire. Gen Zs are being kidnapped, they're killed, they continue. We should understand that you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. You can kill all the messengers, but you can never kill the message. Why is he worried? Why is he so terrified? People will continue asking questions because the government is paid and maintained by our money. And democracy that they so proclaim demands that this government is ours. It is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. So you cannot gag people. We will always ask. I mean, if this was his own money, we would not talk about it. I know that anyone who is associated with Rigathi becomes an enemy. That is what they have done in the Senate. They have made changes in the Senate, in the parliamentary committees, and they have kicked away Rigathi allies because they are now rewarding broad-based government to continue maintaining this illicit regime. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, but even the policemen who arrested Koimburi must be regretting. Why even regret? Why does the police allow itself to be used? And I know sometimes it is order that you cannot question. There are things that you do because you question, you're going home na lazima walinde unga. But then we continue to condemn this unnecessary arrest. William Ruto is creating animosity for nothing. But as I said earlier, the part that can be legally binding is when Koimburi claimed that William Ruto used money, taxpayers' money, to bribe other leaders. That is questionable, and I'm sure that he explained. I don't know what to think, ladies and gentlemen. That's my take.